Oh, that's right, we're back in the States. Hi, and welcome to Geno's Picks. Week 2. I know, my first week, but week 2. And I know, 2 and 3 last week, 40%. Thanks to the Pats for saving that for me. And special thanks to my buddy Justin for filling in for me last week. Hopefully you got to see that video. Absolutely hilarious. But we got 16 weeks of regular season to make some money, and I know you can't wait. But first, let's get right to it. You know what really grinds my gears? The Charlie Sheen roast is this week, people. And every Sheen roast, every freaking roast, I try and get my jokes submitted. And this year, I'm pleased to say, I actually got 3 submitted. But I had like 20 or so that I love that they didn't take. So I'm going to let you go right now to a separate thing, my Geno Before. There's the link right there. And you can see the roast jokes that didn't make those of Charlie Sheen. Take a look now. Compare it to the jokes you'll see this Monday night. And now, Geno's Picks. My first pick, the Bills are giving 3.5 to the Raiders in Buffalo. People, I was really impressed with how the Bills beat up on the Chiefs, who we all know are a fraud, this past weekend. Fitzpatrick looks happy to be the starting quarterback. But by happy, I mean he's taking charge. And he loves his big tight end in Chandler. And you know we love Fred Jackson. And maybe it's time for me to give Steve Johnson a second chance. That offense looks great. Unlike the Raiders, whose offense didn't win the game this past week as much as the Broncos lost it. Please. And you're going to tell me the Raiders are going to do good flying to the East Coast? I checked. Past 2 years, in the 7 games the Raiders have played at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time, they're 1-6. And in their losses, they've been outscored by an average of 3 touchdowns. Unbelievable. What really blows me away is that they were booing Just Orton at that game. I know, even though it was in Denver. Did you see that the city of Denver is trying to get billboards up for Tim Tebow? I got a great idea. All you have to do is put them in the wide open, and you can write on them, if you can see this billboard, you're not Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton was actually the second worst quarterback in that game Monday night. Campbell stinks. Take the Bills, lay the 3.5. My next pick, the Bolts are getting a touchdown from the Patriots in New England. Love my Bolts in this game. And you know why? Because of this man. That's right, Nate Kading. He's out for the year, and that's the biggest thing to happen to the Chargers in a decade. I mean it, because Norv Turner is always terrified. And now the thing he's going to be most frightened of is the fact that he picked up Nick Novak, and he's going to take that kicker out of the equation. And how do you take a kicker out of the equation? By being more aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive on offense. And they are the team to do it. The Chargers have an incredible offense. And they're going to try and get closer and closer every time rather than kick the long field goal. That will keep their offense on the field longer. And that will keep what? Yes, the Patriots' offense off the field longer. Because Tom Brady is amazing. You got to give him props, people. But I'll tell you something else that's a big factor in this game. Center Dan Coppin is out. Center Dan Coppin. It's amazing you never heard that name because he has been with Tom Brady for 9 years now. And there's something about 2 men that are that close at the groin for 9 years. Yeah, and there's going to be a rhythm thrown off when they're gone. People, how close are Tom Brady and Dan Coppin to each other? Let's just put it this way. On their wedding night, Giselle asked Coppin for directions. Take the Chargers and the TD. My next pick. The Cowboys are giving a field goal to the Niners in San Francisco. People, the 49ers beat Seattle this past week because of one player, and it wasn't Alex Smith. It was Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn Jr. returning those 2 kicks within 5 minutes for 2 touchdowns. And the Jets beat Dallas because of one Cowboy fucking up this week, and it wasn't Tony Romo. It was Des Bryant or whatever idiot had him in returning punts and then kept putting him in after he hurt his leg and was dehydrated. Yes, Tony Romo's not a good closer. He puts up great numbers 3 quarters, and in that 4th quarter, can't finish. Let's face it, people. When you give Tony Romo the game in the final 5 minutes and you say, protect this baby, you might as well be talking to Casey Anthony. Yeah. He doesn't hold on to it well. But I will tell you something. Tony Romo is a far better quarterback than Alex Smith, people. Take the Cowboys this week and lay the field goal. Which brings me to my lock of the week. The Ravens are giving 6 to the Titans in Tennessee. Was anyone impressed with the Titans this past Sunday? They lost to Cade McCown and the Jaguars? Yeah, because I think Chris Johnson is going to do what Larry Johnson did a couple years ago. He held out till 2 days before the season started, then never got his legs under him. And as for the arresting play of Kenny Britt and his 2 TDs against Jacksonville's secondary, think he's going to be able to do that against Ed Reed and company and Baltimore? No. And what can you say about the Ravens offense and how they mauled the Steelers? Joe Flacco and Anquan Bolden are getting into an amazing rhythm. And what about Ray Rice? 149 total yards, people. 19 rushes for 107 yards. 4 receptions for 42 yards. He was everywhere. People, there was Rice found in more parts of the field in Baltimore this past Sunday than there was found in Hiroshima in the fall of 1942. I'm just kidding. That's Nagasaki. People, talk about the bomb. Take the Ravens. Lay the 6. Which brings me to my Double Your Money Monday Night Bet, or as I like to call it, this crap grows on trees. People, the Rams are getting 6 from the G-Men in New York. All right, the G-Men looked terrible, and the Rams looked bad, so I'm taking the terrible team versus the really bad team. But the terrible team, Rams, well, what happened to them? They have everyone hurting. Bradford with the thumb, Jackson with his quad, Amendola out. But don't think the Giants aren't banged up either. Nix, their #1 receiver, may not play. Face it, these are 2 teams that are featuring more men that are hurting than a gay encounter group. But what's the cure for a hurting gay man? Well, it's usually scoring with a group of much younger men. The Rams have a group of much younger men. People, take the Rams and the 6. Those are Geno's picks.